I'm gonna call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees for Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 at 7:03 p.m. So first, we're gonna do a roll call. Trustee DeRocher is presently absent. Trustee Lazan is presently absent. Trustee Pika? Present. Okay, Trustee Pika is here. Trustee Pishka is presently absent. Trustee Schmidt? Here. Okay, and then Trustee Stoll is here. Trustee Warren?
Present.
Okay, so then, right now, we're not gonna approve remote attendance and participation, though it may be needed later in the meeting. So the first thing then we need is a motion for approval of the agenda.
So move.
Second. Okay, so, Trustee Warren made the motion and Trustee Pika seconded. So is there anything we want to move or remove? I didn't know if we feel that a closed session is necessary.
We have the goals. Do we need to do those in closed session?
Jason felt we did not.
Then we don't need it.
Okay, so
That's
that's,
the only reason I thought is that.
okay, so then we're going to remove, items 17, I remove items 17 and 18, if that's acceptable, or if there's any more discussion. Is there anything else that needs to be moved or removed? Okay, then I'm gonna ask for approval of the agenda as amended.
So move.
Okay, so
A
then
second.
Trustee Warren made the motion and Trustee Schmidt seconded. So then all those in favor of the approve of the agenda as amended? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, so then
And back to item 2A.
agenda is what?
Back to item 2A.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to item 2.
That's fine.
I need a motion to approve the remote attendance of a trustee due to personal illness or disability.
I'll move to do that.
Okay, so that was made by Trustee Schmidt.
I'll second that.
Okay, trustee, and was seconded by Trustee Warren. So I'll do a roll call. Trustee Schmidt,
Aye.
Trustee Warren,
Aye.
Trustee Pika,
Aye.
and Trustee Stoll votes aye. So then we've approved remote participation for Trustee Pishka.
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear.
So Trustee Pishka is admitted to the meeting then at 7:05 p.m.
Welcome to the meeting.
Yes.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi, guys. I was not gonna miss the meeting, but thank you so much for allowing me to come in.
Of course.
Okay,
So
so
glad you could do it.
yeah. Okay, so then moving on, do we have any presentations?
No.
Okay, and any public comments? Okay, none. So then we do have correspondence that's on page 3.
Yep, we just had a thank you card from Little Friends. I think that's appreciation of Anushka doing the internship with us this past several months. So thank you.
Okay, so are we going to continue this program then?
We are. We have somebody who is going to do this summer. That's the word, summer. And then I think it'll just be for the summer, and then presumably we'll be having a new 3 candidates or 3. Oh my goodness.
Are they all from Little Friends or? No.
I believe so. I thought there was some partnership with this school district here.
Oh.
So it's a little friend. I could be using the but I'm pretty sure. I'm excited in the conversation that there's 2 that are gonna come for 2 hours and 1 that's gonna come for 3 hours.
Okay.
I think that's excellent. Very cool.
So I think the person we have this summer is coming, he's at COD, but I think it's coordinated through the Little Friends.
He does have things.
So, but whether directly or indirectly. Yes. Lots of internships on the horizon. So.
So then the next thing is for the consent agenda, if the secretary is ready to read it.
Consent agenda. Approved minutes of the April 15th, 2026 Committee of the Whole. Approved minutes of the April 15th, 2026 regular board meeting. Approved minutes of the April 15th, 2026 closed session meeting. Under the financials, receive file the financial report for April 2026. I move that we approve the consent agenda as read by the board secretary.
Second.
Okay, so the motion was made to approve the consent agenda as read by trustee Pika and seconded by trustee Warren. So then all those in favor, including Erica, if you approve it, say aye.
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 Any opposed? So, motion passes and the consent, or the consent agenda as read is approved. Okay, so then we're moving on to item 8. So the action items.
I move that we approve and pay invoices in the amount of $93,626.04 for the period of April 16th, 2026 through May 20, 2026, including electronic payments and checks 11107 through 11167 with no borders.
I'll second. Okay, so the motion was made by trustee Pika and then seconded by trustee Schmidt. Okay, so then, roll call, trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll votes aye, so, and trustee Pishka.
Aye.
Look at the screen. Okay,
I'm
so,
sorry, what?
I forgot to look at the screen.
Maybe you should have my little name tag somewhere in the table too, so you can on the screen so you can remember me.
So then, the payments are approved for the period of April 15th to May 20th, 26. So then moving on to item B.
I move that we transfer $275,000 from our commercial checking account to our operating checking account.
I second.
Okay, so motion was made by trustee Pika and seconded by trustee Pishka. So then, roll call, trustee Pishka,
Aye.
trustee Schmidt. Aye. Trustee Warren,
Aye.
trustee Pika,
Aye.
and trustee Stoll votes aye. So, monthly transfer of funds is approved. So now we're on to the discussion items. So that's starting on page 22. For the first item, it's fiscal year 27 working budget, second draft.
That's me.
Yeah. You're up.
All right. So in an attempt to save paper, we just printed you the summary portion of the budget rather than the whole detailed thing. This time around. But for the second draft, I was able to reduce it by roughly $500. So instead of increasing the deficit, we're now decreasing the deficit, although not by much, but it's at least in the right direction.
Yes.
So one of the biggest changes that made that possible was IMRF. I budgeted for an increase, and then we got the actual numbers, and it was a decrease instead, which is great. So that saved us almost $20,000. So health insurance, I raised it from a 15% increase to a 20% increase. And then literally yesterday they had a meeting. I didn't attend, but Ian did, and they had, well, it's not official numbers yet. Their projected increase next year and on January is 15%. Which makes me think I can, for the final draft, I can drop it back down to 15% from the 20% and say, get us that $5,000. So that seems reasonable.
Now we'll have to.
Now, that was based on the first half of the year. Who knows how the second half of the year, and with everything going on in the world, you never know, but I at least feel like if they are theoretically projecting that that's what it's gonna be, then one hopes it's a safe bet for us to put it at that number. So So that was what I was gonna plan for the final draft. Drop it back, so. Let's see, we were able to reduce the library card. For next year by $1,000, because we got quotes in place. For the IT network consultant hours, we just bought some. So hopefully we shouldn't need them. We don't seem to be using them exactly every year, so since it's close to the end of the fiscal year. Figured we could drop it off in next fiscal year, but then it'll come back on the following year. Utilities made a few tweaks, one up, one down. Our databases, we ended up. We are dropping the Gale databases, but we are adding on Press Reader. Giving that a try, which is an interesting new database. It's all newspaper and magazine related. Fortunately, it won't get us, say, the Tribune or sometimes some of the more local things, but it gets us. There is the USA Today, and there's one other big name.
New York,
It's New York, unfortunately.
the Journal, Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street.
Maybe it was just USA
The
Today.
Economist, maybe very often getting stands.
But one of the big draws is it's you can they're digital copies of the newspapers, but you can find a whole bunch of smaller press things from around the country and around the world. So the big attraction for this is that if we do have folks that speak other languages, especially Spanish, you can filter it by language, you can filter it by country, and find all the newspapers and publications in that language or in that country. So if you just filter it by Spanish, it's like a couple hundred different newspapers that you can
Wow.
find.
And is that
Wow.
all true? James?
Yes,
Very good.
so we figured, we got excited by that aspect, so we thought we would give it a try, so we'll see how it does. And yeah, so that ended up being roughly the same, but it was at least a switch that we made. Few other tiny little things there. Let's see, we are going to be able to. I was hedging my bets and just left it in the budget, but our copiers, our adult and youth copiers, our lease just ended. And so we are tonight writing a check to just buy off the remaining fair market value portion of it. I think it's like $1,700. And then moving forward, we will just have a monthly maintenance cost, which should hopefully be,
They'll still service it?
yeah.
Nice.
So I think we do that for the copier next to member services, and that ranges from $15 to $40, depending on how heavily it gets used. So youth doesn't get used as much. Adult is probably the one that gets used the most, so I imagine it might be a little more. But one way or another, the lease would have been $3,200, but we're probably only gonna spend $500, $600, $700 on maintenance instead. So for the final draft next month, that'll get reduced as well. So on top of the insurance, so that'll be a nice thing.
How do you pay for cartridges for those machines?
We don't, it's part of the maintenance.
That's.
So when we have the lease, it's all inclusive. When we're just paying for the maintenance, it's based on the per copy, like how much copies there have been, and that changed. So that's why our bill for the one changes monthly.
Yeah.
Based on that usage, but then that includes the maintenance and then the supplies,
Very good.
so we don't have to pay separate.
Those ones are expensive.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know, I'm gonna talk to Jackie and Lee some more and figure out what our timeline is about the outside condensers and whether I need to add that to the special reserve budget for the final copy. But that's coming out of special reserves and not out of the regular budget, so, but that might be an addition I make for next month for the final draft. So then, excuse me. I've got 2 questions for you. Start with the easy one first. So at the end there, the automation software for KnowBe4. Last year, we or maybe 2 years ago, we added on licenses for trustees to be able to do it too. Know Before is a company that does the cyber training. But it doesn't seem as though, maybe if a few of you used it right at the start, but there hasn't been a whole lot of use since. So it's a great thing, idea in theory, but if in practice, I was just wondering if y'all thought you might keep using it, because if not, we could save $700 that way.
The $700 toward a better purpose, in my opinion. It's like a chore, like I want to do. I did one about 6 weeks ago, before the previous board meeting, and I was glad I did it. But I was like, it was like doing homework.
At least they're short. I think the longest one Duncan has ever sent has been like 15
I mean,
minutes.
I want to do it more, but I don't, and so go ahead, use it for
Is
something
there,
worthwhile.
there's no criteria that we have to have a certain amount of training of this nature, is,
Oh, for the board? No.
I just can see that for lack of people having time to use it. And if somebody's really interested, I'm sure they can approach you for a source to do that training.
I'll pass.
You agreed?
Yeah.
You're the same. Erica, how do you feel? Did you, in terms of,
I'm not sure I even have gotten a chance to tell Erica that we have that, so
Oh.
I'm absolutely certain.
No, you have not told me about it.
My bad. But you, I think, have a lot of your own, I'm sure, training, right? Because don't you work with IT in some shape or form?
Yep.
Okay.
okay, any other,
All right.
Erica, do you have any other questions on the budget or?
Well, we have one other topic.
We have the final big topic.
Yeah.
Yes, we are only going over one, so but so far I don't have no questions.
Okay.
Sorry, I have no questions.
All right, so thank you. We will then remove that from budget portion. So then the last big thing is salaries. So last month you urged me to try and make the 4% raise happen. So thankfully with the IMRF change in rate, we were able to save enough money, so I was able to do that, the 4% increase instead of the 3% increase. So last month, the idea had been it would be, which I think we've done the last 2 years, is essentially a 2% COLA raise and a 2% merit raise. As I thought about it more, did I write down actually? No. So with the CPI, I guess in my mind, if like the cost of living going up, in my mind, we want to make sure that that's the minimum that everybody's getting, just to keep up economically with the increase of everything in the world. So,
At least for 2 gallons of gas.
It went down a penny today.
So I think it's weird, so our 2025 levy, which is payable in 2026, and which we use for our fiscal year 27 budget. So last year's the 2025 levy, the PTEL limiting rate that the county uses is based on the CPI of December 2024.
Oh,
It makes my head spin every year, even though I've got it down pat at this point. Every time I have to review it, it's like
wow.
backwards and forwards. Illinois confuses me in how we do everything in arrears. So it's weird in that. So what makes the most sense in my mind is keeping in the CPI number that we're using for the levy, we're using for the budget that we're talking about, as opposed to, we could talk about the CPI that happened at the end of, December 2025, as that's the more recent and possibly more relevant, but in keeping with the budget, in my mind, you can use the same CPI that the levy,
Yeah.
which I believe was then, now it was either 2.7 or 2.9. I think it was 2.7. But so anyway, we've been slightly short of our COLA portion of the raises the last couple of years being the full CPI rate increase. So that's why I don't know how you all feel, but in my mind, if we were gonna stick with the 4% raises, I guess I would rather do 3% COLA for everybody and then up to 1 additional percent for the merit raises. And since we saved enough and we're gonna be shaving off another, $7,500 before the final. I think if you wanted, but I'm not gonna force it on you. We could do 4.5% raise, so then it would still be the 3% COLA and up to 1.5% merit.
And that would be 5,000, a roughly $5,000 expenditure. Am I incorrect in understanding that?
Correct. Yeah, going up that 0.5%. So.
Well, I think in view of some of the things that have been curtailed, I also am noting you even went into the staff service day and staff meetings and trustee day. I would be in favor of increasing it to the, as you're talking about, 4.5.
Okay.
I would as well.
I would as well. I looked at the Bureau of Labor Statistics for government workers and for a 12-month period that ended March 2026. They said if for government was like 3.5%, but that's an average across the country.
It's not.
And that doesn't necessarily reflect the suburban Chicago area. And so what we want is retention, and we want people to be honored and, feel valued.
I
So,
wanted to be able to afford gas to come to work.
yeah. So anyway, I'm up 4.5.
The tricky part is figuring out what is the right number to base things on. Like, is it the CPI number that our levy is based on? Even though at this point, that's a 1.5 years old. Is it the most recent one? Given the fact that we're having the war across the seas, like, that's not even the most relevant number, given, the high gas prices. So it's trying to figure out but you want to be consistent moving forward so that you always know where you're.
Use the same benchmark.
Right, so, but and also I looked at, I had, at one point I was going to present to you 3 different charts, and I'm like, that's too much. But the Social Security Administration, also, their COLA number is close, but still slightly different, but I'm not sure that theirs is based on the December, so it might be based on a different month, so it's just which
What
number?
was your percentage, Connie, that you quoted?
3.5 average, but it was for the
It was
12-month period
nation. Yeah.
across the nation, and it was the 12-month period that ended March 2026. So,
But
It's
the
not-
key there is we have New York, San Francisco, LA, some of the most expensive cities to live in.
But what I'm hearing from you, and I guess a 2-pronged question is, one is philosophical of, does it make sense trying to have the base, the minimum amount of salary that it raises everybody gets be that CPI amount to try and keep up economically with what's happening? And then adding on the merit after that. Did
Well,
that
it
make
makes
sense?
sense to me. I
Okay.
don't know if there is a better way. I
mean-
just think we have to get a consistent formula and follow it every year so that we're not doing.
Cause the
Yeah.
consistency, then you're trying to read to build the wheel and.
Okay, and
get us to
if
understand.
best of my knowledge, that is what I've been basing it on, is that CPI that our levy has been based on. But like I said, we have not quite been, especially the first year or 2 I was here, I think it was based previously on very close to the COVID inflation years. And so the CPI was 6% or 8%. So there's also budget constraints, so you still have to take it year by year.
I agree.
And I realize you can't always do it, especially if, with our PTEL limiting, if, the CPI is 8%, then we're limited, we use the lower number of 5%, that's the cap. So they use the CPI or 5%, whichever is lowest. So if 5% is lower than the CPI, then 5% is what our increase for our levy is capped at. But so it's that balancing act, and sometimes you're just like, oh, that is a large increase. We want to be able to give that high of a raise, but it might be difficult with the increases and everything else. But I feel like this year in this situation, I feel like we can do the CPI or just a little bit above the CPI to recoup from the last year or two, and have that started as the base and try to achieve that moving forward.
I think as far as the date range that you're using, I mean, levy number, should someone in the public have a question about it, it is a good way to explain it and where you got the numbers from. It's not just pulling it out of thin air, you have a basis for calculations.
Okay. Well, then it sounds like you are on board with that philosophy as best as we can manage. And that you are open to, for fiscal year 27, me upping this 4% to the 4.5%. And us doing 3% COLA raises and then a 1.5 merit. Fantastic. I
Well, and you
really
busted your butt trying to find all
appreciate
other,
that.
a lot of creative other reassignment of values throughout the whole thing, so that kind of helped make that possible.
Yes, that's what I was saying, I've seen it across the board,
Yeah.
every area. Got a little bit of a tweaking, which I think is great.
We'll give up no before you go. Or whatever.
You're what?
We'll give up our training.
I was thinking in it though, yeah, it is $700 if it happens.
Okay, I think that was most of what I had to say about the budget, aside from, I'm not sure if the budget will look like this next month for presentation. I'm still trying to figure out what the best way, formatting wise, for it to be accessible would be, because that's one of the things. A thing we were required to post is our working budget. So I want this year to make sure that I'm posting it in whatever format is most accessible. So if you go on our website right now and look at the past couple of years, it's not gonna look like that because that's not accessible in any way, shape, or form.
Can we get a copy of like this on? Like that, can we get a paper with the final version?
Yeah, there will be, yeah.
I'm trying to do visuals, I know I'm doing
Gotcha.
such a bad job.
No, you'll still get a visual copy. I'm just saying it might look
Sometimes
slightly,
you make a big one.
it might look
I don't
slightly.
care if it's big, I just want to keep.
We did that last year. I think I'm gonna try and make it look more like our budget and appropriation document, which was.
Okay.
Which I tried to, again, I've learned more since then, so I'm still not 100% certain that that is 100% accessible, but is way more accessible than what we previously were doing, so.
Problem.
Forward.
And then for June is when we would need to approve the budget. Do you want it in the consent agenda or as an action item, just to go over the final changes?
Well, I'm concerned about the people who are not here, I don't know if that matters.
Okay, and trustee Lewis, arrived at 7:30.
I was just getting ready to sign.
Erica, so you know what's going on, Barb Roche just walked in. Yeah.
So welcome, Barbara. We were just talking about the budget.
Right. Page 22.
Quick recap. I went through just a lot of the tweaks and changes. Insurance, I had bumped it up to 20%. So we were worried about it going up. Limerick had a meeting yesterday where it's not a final number, but they're projecting that it'll be around 15%. So for the final draft, I'm gonna drop it back down to the 15% that I had the first time.
Nice, that's great news.
And we are, our leases for our adult and youth copiers is up. So we are buying it out tonight with a check. And then we're just gonna pay for a maintenance plan moving forward. So we should be able to save around $500 on that as well. So we should be saving more in the final copy of the budget. Except for the part where we just talked about salaries. I don't know if you had a chance to have read the packet. We're just discussing the philosophy of trying to keep up the minimum amount, the COLA portion of the raises, to try and keep up with the CPI. So that staff can keep up economically with what's happening in the world. And at the moment, the 5 folks were open to increasing, especially since we were gonna be saving some more money with the final draft of having the raises be 4.5% instead of the 4%, so that it could be 3% COLA and then up to 1.5% merit.
Right. I think that's great news.
Okay,
I'm in agreement.
fantastic.
Then probably the other thing was we decided to take the $700 for the, mobile phone thing, but that we got, now we have the trustees access, which is staff.
Right, but there were some other things that were gonna cost some money that we were talking about last month. We were wondering where that money was gonna come from.
I think it was mostly the raises, because last month the draft had 3% raises.
It was the raises and the insurance, and now the
Yeah.
insurance and non-insurance. Okay,
So I raised the insurance, now we're gonna drop it back down,
okay.
and we were able to make the raises increased. Mostly because of, IMRF, I had, our rate this year is 10%. And it had been on upward trend, so I had budgeted for 12%. But last week, 2 weeks ago, they released their, the rates that are gonna take an effect January 1st. And we dropped from 10% down to 9.37%. So that swing from 12% down to 9.37% saved us almost $20,000. So the IMRF rates really was a great help.
And Barbara, I just looked in my notes, Jason's right, it was the insurance and the raises that were the key takeaways.
Right, okay.
So there's, any further questions or discussion on the working budget? Okay, we're ready to move on to item B, solar panels, starting page 26. I guess that'll be Jason.
Sure, let me shine some light on this. So Connie put me in touch with Mike from 548 Energy. And we had a Zoom call. I talked for an hour or so, and he asked questions, I asked questions. So I have to recap everything that I have written here, but you can see the picture, and it was way more solar panels than I had anticipated anybody was going to want to stick on a roof. But that's great. And when I asked him how much that would cost, he said it would.
Fell off the chair.
Yeah, I did. At first I was like, did you say 75 or 750? 750. Oh, okay. So yeah, no, we can't afford that. But so what most places do is that power purchase agreement. So then it doesn't cost us anything to do the installation, but then we have to purchase the energy that is generated from the solar panels from them. They continue to own the solar panels, and they're essentially just using our space for it. So I sent him all of our electric bills from the last year, and he thought we'd save roughly 15 to 25,000 a year, potentially. I'm sure it's based on weather, based on other factors, on how much, probably hard to guess exactly how much we would save, but he, skipping over part of that, it came down to the catch is the roof requirement. I can certainly ask around at different companies and see if they all feel the same way, but he seemed to make it sound as though no solar company was going to want to install solar panels on your roof if your roof was older than 5 years old. And our roof is 2 different parts, but either 18 years old or 23 years, which would kind of automatically make us not a current candidate unless we were replacing our roof. The roof folks, Olson was here today doing maintenance for the spring. And I asked him if it's in good shape, says it's in very good shape. So he said, first he said 10 to 15, he said maybe at the outstretch 20, but essentially he seemed to think the roof lasting another good 10 to 15 years was feasible and likely. So. Um. So I've got all sorts of notes there, but I think it comes down to. We could save a lot on energy costs, but in order to do that, we would have to replace the roof now. And not knowing an exact number, but I was fudging around on the internet and found a calculator, and it'd be at least $325,000, which would eat up the majority of our special reserve, which would leave us with not a whole lot left in case we need to replace the condensers, or if the boiler, or if something bigger breaks, or if we need to resurface the lower level parking lot. So some of the larger things that are upcoming might be harder to do if we are eating up all that money to replace the roof right now. And it's also, the roof has potentially 10 to 15 years left in it. So that would be paying for something way ahead of schedule. So
Did that amount include the amount that by fixing the roof, which you said added another 30% of the life or something? There was a figure.
oh, the maintenance.
The maintenance, yeah.
And that was just something I read on the internet that, like, if you're just ignoring your roof, then, it may not last so long. But if you're doing regular maintenance, clearing debris, patching up things as you see them, as opposed to letting all of those issues accumulate. But if you're doing the regular maintenance and keeping it in good shape, which Lee does, and by us having a company come twice a year to do maintenance, that is what can extend the life by 30%.
So we do that.
We do that.
So that pushes that out even further.
Positive.
So I mean, 23 years old for the one portion starts to be in I think your average range of 20 to 30 years that a roof might need to get replaced. But given that we do all those things, and them just being here saying your roof's in good shape, like maybe some of the flashings and seals you might need to patch or replace at some point, but he said the whole membrane, the flat portion of the roof, he said that's in really good shape. That's gonna last a long while left. So it seems. So it's do you preemptively tear off a roof that's still in good shape, spend a lot of money, leave ourselves in less of a secure position for any other building things that we might need to take care of?
I think that's my greatest concern, is the special reserves, because these buildings are getting older, not just the roof. And we have some pump this time. There's
Right.
endless number of things. I would also be, and this, I'm not casting any aspersions, but I would like to have you talk to someone else and
Sure.
see their proposal. Maybe even 2 other people. And then I would like to know if there is a grant available before we move forward with the final decision. And my last little note was, have you talked to anybody else in a municipal environment that is using solar panels? Do they have any pros or cons? I think that would be worth pursuing, just to ask, do you really save this much money? Or how's your experience gone? So those are my points. And those 4 things immediately came to my mind when I was reading your narrative.
And I know my concern is too, we still haven't paid off the bonds, we still have that debt liability on our books too, that. I mean, I realize maybe nobody's gonna call in the loan or say that we have to come up with a balance, but. We're still,
It's still at that.
yeah, right, and that's what I mean, we're still paying it off, and if. We didn't have that extra liability that we'd say hanging over our heads on top of any other emergencies, replacements. Because I mean, I really do like the idea, I'd really like to see us do that, but I just feel like now is not the right time.
I agree.
I am so excited that you did the research and I appreciate it so much. And I do think, if it works out to talk to other people, that's cool too. But I trust the information that Mike told you about the quality of the roof, and it would be putting good money in. I mean, that's inappropriate for us to spend money to tear out a roof that's perfectly good. And so the other thing, we're in we've lost and we are losing some of our federal benefits and whatnot and support of solar and clean energy. And in 5 years, it could be a whole nother environment for that kind of support. So you know, I'd love to see it like note in the calendar in 5 years, you know, let's explore this again, let's not lose it. And, but I totally agree that it's inappropriate to tear up particularly the roof to do this.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think now is the time.
I really like all of your points, Jerry. I really do, and I think especially to contact other municipal entities to see if others have gone down those. So are you aware, Connie, of other municipal entities that have used that have installed solar?
I can easily find out, but, no, I'm gonna guess Mike, they're part of there's a thing called the Greenest Region Compact. With Edith Macra in
I mean,
Chicago.
there's awards given out for
Yeah.
different solar
Yeah.
initiatives and things.
So, yeah, I mean, definitely there's huge money savings, like my electric bill, it arrived today. My electric bill was $20. And it was $20 just paying to be connected to the grid. And I used rough numbers, I used 200 kilowatts of energy, but I put 350 kilowatts onto the grid. So I made off like a bandit, and I will over the summer, but then in the winter months,
And there's not as
not so
much.
much. Yeah, the angle is different of the sun, so you don't save as much in the winter. But yeah, you'll save a ton of money. But not enough to make up how much it costs to put a whole new roof on and all
That
that weight.
aware of
All
the
that
utility
weight.
of what we would already have,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's not a. But kudos to us for thinking about it and kudos for us to keep it on the horizon.
Well, I think that's the key, and I also think solar, you made the statement, Connie, about things changing in the world, and there may be advances in this whole concept of how it's developed, how it's manufactured, and maybe we don't need all that many solar panels. Maybe there'll be bigger, better ones when we are ready to spring forward. But my other point is, I think we're just rushing into something, and we need to think of all those in column A and all those in column B, and my column B to delay until we know all the facts is much longer.
Rushing into it.
No,
We're
just
we're
saying.
just taking a peek at
I
it.
mean, it's to utilize a bunch of the current federal incentives.
Then
Would
you
And
have
if
to
we
rush.
have to, and if we need a fresh roof in order to install, then all of a sudden, even if that's by the end of next year, it really does all of a sudden start to feel like a rush.
Yeah, that would be.
But if they really all feel the same and that we need a fresh roof. And we're all in agreement that if our roof isn't good enough shape, we shouldn't waste a perfectly good roof and spend that money and we can worry about it later. Then that's fine, then we don't need to rush it, then we can take our time and learn a little bit more and talk to a couple of different companies. Find some on it. So, and I can certainly try and talk to one or two others this summer and to try and corroborate that fact, but.
Cause I guess too, what my question was, and Connie, I think sort of answered it. So we're putting the solar panels on our roof and we're purchasing the energy from them.
Mhm.
If we don't use all that energy, then what are they doing with the excess? Are they selling it to someone else then, that what we don't use?
That's
That's what you're doing, right, Connie?
I'm sorry, say it again. I was just gonna Google libraries with solar panels and do page count.
So,
I probably, although I'm going to guess as opposed to a home being a larger institution that's got a whole bunch of
Right.
computers whirring all day and lights that are on all day
Right.
and
We'll
HVAC.
probably consume it all.
I'm going to guess we're never going to produce more than we're going.
that's what I was curious.
I could be wrong.
If
but-
that, because I guess it just. You know, I know like right now, say with electricity, when we watch costs go up. And then does the cost therefore also possibly go up, but you're not purchasing, correct? You're just whatever you use and then you said you're putting more back in,
Yeah, well, my solar panels create power
okay?
and there's a meter that keeps track of how much power they create and how much power I use. And if I create more power than what I use, it goes onto the grid and other people get to use it.
I see.
It's like adding water into a bathtub, is how it was explained to me. It just adds to the pool.
But you're not giving any kind of financial credit for that.
I am, because then, yes, I am, definitely. So then in November, I'll have like,
You'll have
I'll
acquired.
have credit, and yeah, I'll have accumulated credit, and then if I don't make enough, if I use more power than what I put on because the weather and the angle of the sun is differently, then my ComEd bill tells me how much extra accrued credit I have, and it starts to go down. You know, so my accrued credit is used to help keep my bill low, you know.
To Jason's point, that we would probably use, what if we use more than the solar panels generate on a monthly basis?
Then you pay
Still
for
have
your
the-
electricity, just like you
Still
do
have an
now.
electric bill.
So yeah, we'd pay for the discounted rate of that, we're taking advantage of some of those
It
incentives.
would be discounted.
That we pay the discounted solar energy from the solar company, and then whatever's left over, then we would just purchase as normal from ComEd slash. Is it next?
Next gen or something.
And I would assume they know, they have some algorithm for how many solar panels we would actually need to, you showed them electric bills to generate what we commonly use every month.
Yeah, so I mean, he said how much we would save. It was clearly not our whole budget for the year, so. I think that means we would still not be producing. As much as we consume.
Thank you.
So, the trustees have been around for a while. You can correct me if I'm misremembering, because I have a lot of jumbled up things in my head right now, but. As I recall, when we did our last big build out, we did this, big loan. When we decided at the point at which that we paid out that loan, and that was gonna be paid off. It was gonna be about time to start thinking about a new build out. And then doing another kind of creative loan type of thing. And then. This might be a good project to build into that loan at that time. And I'm thinking that's gonna be in about 5 or 6 years, is that right?
I think you're right.
Am I on the right track here?
I believe our last.
I'm like, I can't remember all the things.
29
So I got this earlier.
or 2030, I think it's 2029.
Yeah, it's 29 or 30. Yeah, oh, that's much sooner than 5 or 6 years. Anyway, so, this might be a good thing to,
Effectively, there's a 5-year window,
Yeah.
4-year window that we have to cement
I
the
mean,
details.
this doesn't have to be part of it, but it would be,
It would be.
it'd be nice to
easy.
make that new project kind of a green-ish initiative. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about
Yes,
in relationship to that project, and what we wanna do, but.
and maybe the.
We've been
build-out-
talking about
Yeah,
doing a lot of things greener.
maybe the build out is the, I call it the basement, but you know what I'm talking about, which would be more cost effective than addition. I don't think we can add any more on, so I think the basement or the first floor is where we have to go with that. But that's a great point.
Because, I mean, I know the one way too that I feel about this is, again, that would give us time to check with other municipalities, or that possibly this, what happens with a large building that has solar panels, rather than say, find out what that experience is, how much savings they do realize. So,
I just think there's some benchmarking and research to the next level that needs to happen.
There's an organization called ICEA, the Illinois Solar Energy Association. And their standard thing, the first thing on their website, and they list all the accredited great solar installers across Northern Illinois region. And the first thing is get 3 estimates. So when we get ready to look at this in earnest, which I don't think we are. For you've got a lot of stuff to do, I would. Well, whenever you're ready to do it. Cause you might be wanting to research something else too. Anyway, it's a good idea to get.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I appreciated Mike it's great. It's easy to talk to, got a lot of information, but it was literally the first and only conversation I've had with anybody about
Right.
solar. And so at one point he said something, and I'm like, well, what is that? It's like, oh, I'm like, you are literally the first research I'm doing. It's like, oh, okay, let me explain it to you. I'm like, great,
That was
thank you.
in the our purchasing agreement, probably.
So yeah, so if we were even getting, I at least took this as a first conversation to give us a groundwork to kind of decide when and how we're moving forward, and if it's delaying a bit, like at the time, then great, but at some point, if we were moving forward with more intent, then it definitely would be wanting to talk to more people and get more information. Because I think
Thank you for.
it's a big thing.
Thank you for looking into it. I don't know if we know this.
Any other questions or any more discussion? Erica, did you have any questions?
I'm good, thanks.
Okay, are we ready to move on then to item C, updated purchasing policy number 120 on page 30?
All right. Purchasing policy. Sorry. So I first gave you a copy of revisions in January. And then I sent it to Roger and his son. In here somewhere.
Mark,
Mark, thank you. My brain is all jumbled up as well. Yeah, and he sent back, so we went back and forth, and so we haven't seen it since. So this is what we landed on. It's kind of a combination of, so part of the bits that we were missing was originally called purchasing, but it really didn't, it only talked about bids and contracts and didn't really talk about any other purchasing. And so I changed it to bids and contracts. But it felt like we still needed that kind of portion of purchasing, and a lot of other libraries have that. So it's kind of a combination, excuse me, of those two. So essentially talking about purchasing at the beginning, here are the various tier levels of spending. And obviously the highest tier of that being public works construction projects, $25,000 or over, in which case we need to go to public bid. So, and then there's a section on bidding and all the various things that go with that. My narrative, I mentioned I didn't know what bid deposits were, so we explained that. So I think it's the original draft that we were revising had like a page worth of like contract language, which seemed highly unnecessary, and a few other things. So I think this new version, as it's sitting in front of you, is streamlined. Gives you these different purchasing tiers, outlines kind of when it's say public works construction projects, like what are those types of projects. I like that we now have that listed, so you have a good sense of what is it are the sort of things that require that public bid. And then there's the exceptions, you know, if it doesn't fall into those categories, then we don't need the public bid. If it's an emergency, then we can, you know, and the building operating is dependent on getting the fixes done, then we can go ahead and do that and not go to public bidding. But then all the other sort of procedures, rejection of bids, all those sorts of things are still similar as before, just a little more streamlined and easier to read. So I will admit my head at this point is tired of this.
Yeah.
Policy. I think the big question was for, I guess, purchases under 10,000 and for purchases between 10,000 and 25,000. I presume as long as it is budgeted, you all are okay with me spending that money.
Yeah.
And then presumably for between 10 and 25,000, if it wasn't budgeted for, it falls within the realm of this policy, I can go ahead and do it. Otherwise, I'm letting you know I'm still getting, we don't have to go out to public bid, but I'm still getting quotes ideally, when appropriate and if possible. So we can make sure we're getting the best company, the best price.
Good with that. I like to see that there's prevailing wage stipulation in there too. That's just
Yeah, like
kind of public policy for.
sometimes it's trying to figure out like how many things that are a part of law do we need to say in our policy? Sometimes it's
Right.
good to just have it there for people to see that, yes, this is part of the law and yes, we
You're
can
on
follow
it.
it.
I can do that.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's like, we don't need to go listing everything that's in the statutes, but. But so, yeah, so I put that back in, 'cause I'm just like, I feel like it's like,
Well, but
we don't
it's
have to do
something-
anything on a yearly basis, but I think it's important that we call it out that. We do follow this, we're a public body.
There's someone maybe reading this.
Right.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, maybe it's from another library who wants to use ours and.
That's gonna happen. That was so good.
Okay,
Does anybody have any questions?
That's
good.
everything looks good to me.
Okay,
Everything looks good to me too.
Yay.
excellent. Would you like this on the consent agenda then next month?
Yes, please.
Please.
Okay, great. And then the budget, was that? Consent, or you want to make it an action item, just since there will be a final couple changes?
It needs to be an action item. I
That
would
makes sense.
say,
I agree.
Yeah.
I think we need to take
yeah.
a vote
Sounds good.
individually.
So then the last item for our discussion, or no, I guess not the last item. Item D, the update on the Dolly Parton Imagine Library on page 36.
What is that?
Hey, if anybody didn't come in that door. Did you see her? She's over there. Oh, full size Dolly Parton right outside that door. Full size. Well, I bet you that's her.
I think it is still size, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think of, she's not very
No,
big.
I think she's under 5 foot.
Petite
Yeah.
person.
Anyway, our program is live. And we now have Scratch Out 72. We have, as of this afternoon, we have 92 kids.
I think that's fabulous.
We're at like minimal advertising. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, I know, I think Andy Drillick had said word of mouth will really spread.
People love Dolly.
They do. So, but we are, Diana and I are going tomorrow night to the last Johnson School dinner of the year. So I'm bringing Dolly with for that. And then,
For your everywhere.
Much.
I couldn't find it anywhere and
Oh.
maybe I just ignored it, but
no, there's
no
no.
ceiling.
I think they have, given the amount of programs that they have across the country and across the world, frankly. I think they have kind of figured out generally what you kind of level out at as your top. But no, there's no cap other than having the funding for it. But I believe our funder has not once mentioned that as being an issue. So I think we're in great shape, which is they had a Illinois online meeting last week or the week before, and they were talking about funding. And I'm like, I attended, but I'm like, I don't know why I'm listening to this, because we are so lucky in that this is not a concern for us. So
The one number I remember they said was that we feel great if about 65% of the kids that were within that age range were enrolled. That would feel like.
Oh, that's
we're
a
full house.
huge number.
But yeah, who knows if we'll, when and how we'll get there, but yeah.
And I think 2 years ago, when we first were trying to get this going, I used the calculator on their website, and like it did, I think. I'm guessing based on their experience, it seemed like after 5 years of the program existing, then you would have hit that plateau of 65% or whatever the number is. And so it had a price range there, but when we started, they just wanted a 2-year funding commitment. So our donor was able to provide that, but yeah, but
And there is a button
I mean,
when
two
you
kids is-
register, if you want to donate to it to
Yeah.
help support it, that individuals can do that, or even if anybody wants to go in there and donate to support it, they can.
so. We're told we have our on Saturday, June 6th, we have the summer reading roundup. So highlighting summer reading challenge, obviously, but we'll be promoting the Dolly program as well. So you're all welcome to attend if you are interested. But anyway, yes, so. So spread the word. Get more kids to sign up.
Well,
Does anybody have questions about?
well, I know Kathy will do an excellent job spreading the word, but that donation thing, I think we need to kind of push that out, because people have already asked me about. There are some people who would like to donate.
Well, if you go up to if you
I
go to
know,
that
but
profile page,
Yes, I think
There's
in
the donate
any
button.
material that we send out, that might be something we Put a little spotlight on them.
Any other questions about Darling?
What time is the meeting round up? Or do we know? Say again?
And to twelve.
Thank you so much.
I believe the mayor will be here in the very early 10 o'clock hour. To give a little. Something.
Yeah, Barbara.
Cool. Then, any more discussion on Dolly, or ready to move on to another exciting item, backflow pipe replacement? Thing I'm sure we all been waiting to discuss.
Page 38. I'm just sad we got taking action.
So
What's the approximate cost of this,
at the moment in the special reserve budget in the draft, we have 15,000. So that was one quote that they got.
Okay.
So, I mean, I suppose I should have included a picture. It is a large,
chump change?
but it is a large apparatus.
Oh,
So if you saw it, that price would make sense. So, but it's important because it's part of the sprinkler system.
Yes.
So. But yeah, so that was from our January inspection. It has been a little leaky. I guess Lee is just hedging as to how long to make it last. So it's not a for certain thing that'll get replaced this year, but it is most likely. So there's like a couple parts to the whole thing. If you replace one part, then most likely, a year later, the next part of it will, and then, so it's just best to get it all fresh, hence the big price tag. But no matter what, whether you're doing a part of it or the whole multi segments, we'll have to shut the water off. The main gist of it. So then, and he said the replacement of it would most likely take most of the day. Sorry, aren't great tonight. So that means we'd have a public building without any running water and working bathrooms, which we can't have. So we would have to enclose that thing. So to that end, I didn't know, it's not like gonna happen in the next month or two, unless something wild happens. So it should be summer or fall, but I didn't know if you wanted, if just for, that's maintenance, and so I can just call it when we get it scheduled, like that's gonna be the day we close, or whether you want me to bring it to you to approve that officially.
I'm okay doing it. I hope we'll have at least like 2 weeks notice or some more
Oh.
to like let the public know the library will be closed for a maintenance issue. So that people are aware of it. And
I told Lee that we need to schedule it far enough out so that we
Yeah.
can make a plan around it. And
So
advertise it.
right now, though, as far as we know, the pipes are in good enough shape that it'll last. It's not like it's in danger of failing sooner than later.
Right, yeah, no, it's pretty fine.
You don't have to come with buckets.
No.
And a hose in case there's a fire.
No, I guess it's just like, I don't wanna put off something if it seems to be more of a emergency than.
Oh, no, it's not an emergency. It is still working fine. It is just leaking a bit. So in terms of our inspection, come the next time we have an inspection, we might not pass.
Oh, okay.
So we would need to get it replaced, but it is not like it is failing. So
That's what I was just wondering.
It leaks, but is it under stress? I mean, if we were to crank up.
aren't we all under stress?
Well, I'm talking about blowout of some joint that might
Leaky
wind up.
bits,
causing-
blowout, under stress. I mean, we could apply these terms to so many parts of our life.
Don't push it too much.
I mean, that's a good question, Rick. We didn't mention that and didn't seem concerned about it, so. Do you know, Jackie?
No, I think it should probably be done within the next. 6 to 9 months, maybe. Before winter.
I mean, he did not. I was like, does this need to be done right now? And he's going. So to me, that says it's still operating just fine, but it is something that we need to replace this year.
And it may rapidly deteriorate too.
That's possible too.
And once those things start,
Sure, you are an authority on that, aren't you?
Fourth of July.
Okay, so I can just. We don't need to vote on it, but if it's just, since it's a maintenance
Take
thing,
care of it.
I will just let you know as far in advance as possible. And obviously, we want to let the public know as far in advance as possible.
And is there any negative repercussions on our staff if we have to close?
Oh, yeah, none of them wanted.
They're gonna need it.
No.
I just want to make sure there's nothing negative. I know you like to close, but I don't want it to disrupt anything for that.
One thing with the library and all programming, so if. We need to reschedule it, which is not.
No, but that's the kind of thing I'm thinking about. We need to look at what
That's
you
true.
guys have to do in a day. And
See, it don't have to
Connie
be
said the public's too, so they.
room rental meantime, just so you can try and get it scheduled maybe on a day when there's minimum programming that would have to be.
I mean, ideally, we would plan it 2 to 3 months in advance.
They're not
And
going.
we could look at the calendar,
You're lucky
pick a
they
day
tell
that
you.
either has no programs or has.
We have this one day open,
And
and that's
it's
the one you get.
28th, but we'll be there. They're not used to dealing with people proactively. They're usually there when there's an emergency. So they may even tell you they're coming on a day, 2 days before. We won't be there. We have to reschedule, so.
We'll work quickly and do our best, but
Oh, no, I know you will. It's not an easy thing to take care of.
so the second half of that, I guess, is how you feel about. What we do for staff for the day off. Just a paid day off, we want everybody to attempt to try and work from home.
I would say,
A large portion can, but not everybody, or maybe doesn't have enough to.
I would say a
Fill up
paid day
all.
off. I mean,
It's not their fault.
Paid day off,
Paid day
yeah.
off.
I mean,
I'm
We're
easy.
lovely people.
yeah,
Well, and I'm sure they'll come to you if there's something that's gotta be done that day and
Sure.
work on it beforehand, like Paul already is thinking, so.
It's like a snow day when you're a teacher.
Yeah. You only get 2 of them.
because I think otherwise trying to coordinate or make people find something to be busy when, it just a paid day off.
But not that big of a deal, just go for it.
I mean, I assume it was a different thing during COVID when you're. Closed for a long amount of time, and you're trying to learn, continuing to pay people, but when it's just one day for repair. it
Well, you
seems
could
like-
ask the staff, would they prefer to work from home or would they prefer a paid day off?
Got it tough.
Yeah.
I don't know, I gotta see the vote on it.
I think that you might wanna find out what the probability of it turning into a 2-day project. If they wind up with more.
That's a
work
good
than I
question,
thought.
Rick.
That's true.
I tried.
Are you writing that down, Jackie? I mean,
Change it to be-
these things, I think it should just take one.
They won't work from home on Saturday.
With a big thing like that, I suppose you do never know, something
It's
could
a
go wrong and they'll be like, we gotta come back tomorrow.
Yeah, we gotta
Like,
get a
but-
part.
But,
Yeah.
If they're available.
Don't start doing. I'm gonna say.
so,
Well, that I guess would be my other question, whenever, if I would they keep 2 days open if it's necessary? Cause I mean, I would need to think, yeah, we'll be back next week and it's
Gotta
like,
be in here ahead of the time and know what parts they need.
right.
I would hope, so the company doing this would know, we have shut off our water, we're a public building. You're not coming back next week, you're coming back tomorrow.
Yeah, you gotta walk it ready. We'll start unless you get the. We forgot the truck. We'll be back tomorrow. Okay, who's the pen?
And we
Oh.
covered all we needed to with the backflow pipe replacement. Are we ready to move on to item F, page 39, the ALA exhibits June 25th through 29th? So I know we don't have Sandy here to confirm, but is everybody that's listed still interested in going?
I'm not gonna be going.
Okay, so
Okay.
Barbara's not going,
Connie is not going.
Connie's not going.
Oh, Barbara's not coming
And I'm not.
Rick,
Yes.
are you still interested in going to the conference exhibits? Okay.
Rick is still interested.
Yes.
Okay, Erica, are you still interested in going to the conference or do you think, at the end of June?
I am, yes.
Okay,
Okay, so that's two yeses,
and a
a
maybe.
maybe, and we don't know, because Sandy's not here. Okay,
Maybe I'll for sure let
Are
you
you
know.
the maybe?
Right, well,
Oh.
this is the thing is Saturday, my sister's having her 60th birthday party. Down on one of the party boats in Chicago. It starts. Yeah, it starts at 3, so I'm thinking I could go down early, go through the exhibits, or. For sure. Or if I spent Saturday night downtown, then I could go Sunday morning.
So my
That's why-
invitation's in the mail?
But if, what?
My invitation's in the mail?
Well, I don't. Oh,
That is gonna be a fun
Short answer is no.
yeah.
I'm watching.
So that's why I'm like, that's why I'm a maybe, or maybe I just won't go, but I'll know more by June for sure when I've decided on what my plans. Just a party or to go and.
Oh, I know what I do.
Exhibits and for some,
As a dedicated trustee, I'm sure you.
get some more free books.
Yeah, it's not really about exhibits, it's about free books.
Free stuff.
and tokens, lots of ones too.
And chocolate.
Alright, well, I think technically we can wait until next month's meeting. I just wanted to make sure we got them at enough time, but. Erica and Rick, if any, I may start getting the passes first week or 2 of June.
Sure.
But if in the meantime, something changes and you can't go, please let me know.
No worries, I
I'll-
will just probably just like how I did today, either by phone call or most likely by email. I did call a lot of people today.
And we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Then on to the director's report.
All right. So. It's that time of year again. We have a parade coming up. Diana is getting those who are walking in the parade. Jerseys that will have our logo on it. Back. So
Is it cute?
who is interested in joining us for the? parade
I'm
this
carrying
year?
the banner. That's my job. Carrying the
I
banner.
would love to, but I'm not gonna be able to walk. I can't walk 500 feet. Like,
Maybe you should ride
Right in the car.
I can ride in the car, but I can't walk.
and hand us a bag of candy.
Wow.
Jealous.
I
Who was
know.
the-
I'd rather.
That was my title. Candy.
I will let you guys know depending on how my treatment goes for my arm. Because most probably I'm gonna be on physical therapy, and it usually takes like 2 or 3 months to recover. So I do not recommend getting your shoulder dislocated. I really do not.
Therapy, throwing out candy to
Yeah, I
kids.
know. Poor girl.
So sorry.
All right, so we've got Heather, Connie, Rick, and Jerry. Do you want to ride in my car with me?
Ride in your car, but I
Okay.
cannot walk. Sorry, guys.
Fair enough.
I can barely walk from the parking lot. Push it along.
All right, and then, so then. We won't do it right this second after the meeting, or we want to come over and take a look at the different sizes and see what size you would like, and then Diana will get that forward.
Okay.
So. Awesome. Okay. The reading nook, yeah, the Rocket Reading Nook. Very excited about that.
Good job.
Might need to have lights inside it.
What was that?
Might need some lights inside it.
Ooh, that's good, yeah.
Yeah, a little battery thing.
I think on the website, they also had like a big moon carpet at the base of it. So we'll see. But yeah, so we're getting that to replace the iPads, so really excited about it. So
Where did the idea, did you find it at PLA or did you just?
He gave us in the room. They didn't have it physically there, but it was.
It's really cool and different. I like it. And these iPads, as you well know, they've been in contention for a while, but the drop-in mothers, will they be able to use them if they want to?
Yeah, they'll be available in our technical collection.
You know, I just didn't wanna aggravate the other side of the coin.
Oh, Sharon Goodman will be thrilled with this use of those phones.
Great, I was just about to ask,
Yeah.
figured that would be a lovely thing to apply her donation towards.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent.
fantastic, so yeah, excited about that, I wrote lots of things about PLA, as did Paul. There's a lot to think about, and then of course you immediately come back and jump back into doing everything you're doing, but I don't wanna forget some of these things. But it was a good conference, I think one thing that stuck with me is, I guess it's a sad thing, everybody keeps mentioning bookmobiles. I attended that session. Come away with a lot of information that essentially says
Bad idea.
bookmobile is not quite right for us. Although at the conference in the exhibit hall, they did have a smaller size vehicle that you do not need a CDL license for.
It's a bicycle bookmobile?
No, not that. It was still definitely
Sprint vans.
like a small bus size. But no, just your maintenance, where is it stored? Where, having the partners, where you're going, is it navigable?
Are you saying everybody here is
Yes.
mentioning bookmobiles? Cause I don't remember anybody here mentioning it very.
He's always gone.
Pretty sure both you had.
No, I did not mention it. I think it's very uneconomical way.
Multiple staff. I think everybody always mentions it to me with a big old smile, so I think they know that it is not really a thing, but it gets mentioned enough that I felt like I need to take notes
It's
at this.
uneconomical. I have very fond memories of my bookmobile when I was young, but.
Right,
think
well, I
it
remember that.
Suited to a rural
uneconomical.
environment, not necessarily.
Some
Yeah.
of it is like.
I mean, the library that presented was Kansas City, and so like it
Right.
was five,
Big.
they had 5 or 6 branches, but then it just covered this wide swath of land. So they had 3 full bookmobiles, dedicated staff that rotated it, but that's all they did with the bookmobile. They had dedicated collection for the bookmobiles, like it wasn't like, oh, what am I going to grab from the collection to add to the truck today? Like, no, it's like they had collection development for the bookmobile, so it was like, obviously wouldn't, even if we did it, it wouldn't be as big a scale as that, but it was still just like, oh, okay, wow, this is a lot, this is a thing.
It's a thing.
We are not really big enough.
I just always remember it was so much fun to do for summer months, not all year round, but the nice thing was that then I didn't have to make the trek to the library when, and I could request them and they would bring it out like the next week, but, I understand it's, because I guess what I find frustrating sometimes with our community is when you have so many high traffic streets. I mean, you've got Butterfield, you have Route 59, and it's hard, say for kids, like for somebody in Summer Lakes, for a kid to ride their bike all the way over here to the library, it would just be nice as another outreach, but I know it's great, we've at least got, the story time or whatever with the laundromat. So I mean, I know that's a start and we're working on it as more of a community outreach, but sometimes it seems remote, like, say over by you. And I know we don't always have, and I know we have story times over at Park. But it just seems like sometimes at Park, it's so far flung, and it just would be another way to bring more people in. So,
But I think we can figure out whether it's, some
I mean,
better portable crates to load up and load in someone's car, or whether it's a book bike. Or the 24/7 lockers, if we can find a strategic location for it, so I think there's various ways. We can try and address that issue, but it is, I have found that to be an interesting thing. Having come here of, like, Warrenville's not that big, and yet you still are somehow really segmented
right, well, and
for
that's,
such a small.
It feels so not segmented compared to, larger communities like Aurora. Well, I don't know if they still have a bookmobile, but they had a bookmobile when I lived there. That is a large community. They need bookmobile. it's so different than here. I live over by Hubble School. And I feel like it's real easy to get here on the bicycle. It's just easy.
Well, from this point, I agree, but from that point,
Well, it's that way.
yeah.
We just hired our community outreach person, not even a year now, Diana's been, and she is a human form of the bookmobile in a way, bringing the library out into the community, and I think, let her do her magic, for a bit, and I think that she's already doing some amazing things.
Let's just get her a bicycle like Barbara said.
Some of it is, I would say too, just like with the solar panels, I mean, I agree, I don't think the bookmobile is right now, but who knows what it's gonna be like, say in another 5 to 10 years, when there might be another possibility or another option.
And I think those lockers, Amazon's paid the way people are used to using the lockers now. I think those lockers have a lot of validity in some of the circumstances.
Yeah.
The apartment complexes or townhome complexes, even Lifetime, some of the, I don't know if Lifetime's us or it's Naperville now, but at any rate, I think that'd be more cost effective than. Like
Is
you're
Lifetime
talking.
Naperville?
No, I think it's Warrenville, but they're,
Lifetime is.
It's on that strip of land where they fight over whose zip code it is, I don't know,
Lifetime
but
is.
it's just, there's a lot of places lockers could go that people could access, and those would be.
That Lifetime is supposed to be the most used and highly trafficked Lifetime in the nation.
I know.
Oh, really? So if we were gonna put a locker anywhere, that'd be the place to put it.
Let me just get Diana a bigger bicycle, she can have like I have with the basket.
that's an interesting stat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even hitting those apartments over there, by the movie theaters, I think would be, that would be, I think.
I don't know, movie theaters are.
I'm not saying the movie theaters, but I'm saying doing something like the lockers done at
I'm
Lifetime.
talking about in the apartment.
Yeah,
Oh, I see.
apartments.
Anyway, something to explore,
Anyway,
so.
So then on to the director's report, or I guess that's where we were.
That's where we were.
Yeah, okay, I didn't have it checked out. Okay,
So yeah, it was a great conference. Again, thank you for letting me go. I think my issue sometimes with conferences, a lot of the programs are presenters from really large libraries or really large systems. So sometimes the things that they talk about, it's trying to pick out the nuggets that you can take back and think about and see what about this little aspect, what why? Because sometimes it's just like, oh, well, that's really fascinating, cool to hear about this big thing you did, but like that's not relevant to us at all because we're small and you're whatever, a 5-county system or whatever.
right,
So that was the takeaways of trying to figure out, and sometimes it's just the refresher of, oh yeah, I knew that, but that's a good reminder and was refresher, so. But thank you again. I know Paul enjoyed it. I know Sandy enjoyed it as well.
I like the renaming of rules of conduct. I think we have some similar type of thing, and we might want to borrow that phraseology there.
Yeah, I like that idea. Again, it's one of those, that was from the Seattle library, so much bigger place. Where I think they probably out of necessity had to post their rules of conduct. Whereas we don't necessarily need to, we could.
I thought we had.
We have
something in
it's a policy and it's
Policy.
posted on the website, but I mean, I think they physically posted in their building as you're coming in.
Sure.
As something to point to with all the issues that they might have. Whereas that's not something we need to do, we could, but overall, I liked that concept of what they did, of like, set of rules. It's this community contract and like, or agreement, and I thought that was a really nice way to frame it. This, we're all in this together, we're all community space. We're all here to get the same benefits and work together, and I liked that whole concept. And we could do something like that. I don't know that we necessarily need to, because again. This size scale issue of like. I think it was a much more impactful thing for them to do. I don't know that we'd necessarily see an impact if we tried to do it because we really don't. Have those same sorts of issues.
I was just thinking to rename the specific policy, not post all of it. That it only say, what's wrong here?
Next, when we come back around to that policy and review it, then yes, something to consider. And if you ever get to Minneapolis, Awamni is now closed, but Chef Sean Sherman is opening a larger restaurant to replace it, so that they could have more catering space, because the restaurant was really very small. But I highly recommend it.
I really like reading about that.
It was a good meal. And the fact that he was the closed session speaker was.
Wine was out the door.
So, then on to the department head reports, anything that any of the department heads would like to highlight? Or? No, I really enjoyed working with FanCon, that was awesome again.
It was huge success, an estimated around 800
That's amazing.
people throughout the day. Your count, some very good vendors, staff, and everything like that. I think we, all the 200 giveaway that run the event, so. Something to consider if you're, so, if we can. Also, we had 13 volunteers that day, 2 weeks ago, we had 1 volunteer this day as well. It was fantastic event, and we did really great job for this.
Thank you to you and your staff and all the.
And she also presented at the local night in conference. Later that month, so it was kind of.
I don't think she was going to consider.
It was fun that they're like.
Well, are you able to share, I read that note about, I think it was the vendors who offered suggestions. To,
The survey?
yes, what kind of things was it more logistics or?
Logistics a lot of time, yeah, like last year, no one really wanted to be in the road, or in the Bay Area. Or against the window, so we definitely need, so all the locations.
That's what I figured.
So basically, we made this area here a lot of the tables, but we also the traffic will flow better into the Bay Area, but we big track. So it was the 501st Legion was over there. And
There's a lot of interest in that.
there.
I was just curious. I figured it was something like that, like I would like to be at the front door so everybody sees me.
Yeah. So true. But yeah, fantastic.
Very good.
Diana was also at the bike road.
She was,
She was passing out stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah, you could tell.
But it wasn't as long as last year.
Yeah, that's out there too, yeah. That's why those big, the reference folks coming in.
And it's small enough, but like the phone. I love that picture, that's rock bottom, is that where the silent book club was?
Yes.
That's amazing, there's that many people who come.
No, that one's actually 2 brothers. The Silent Book Club. is 2
Oh.
brothers.
This is
I books on tap is like rock bottom, but the new one, the Silent Book Club, is like 2 brothers. We've been trying to get them to for a very long time.
But look at all the people.
I went, yeah, I went to it one time and there's only the 3, this will be the 3rd one in May. And so I went to the first one and it was really interesting.
Yeah.
It was really cool and it created community, people visiting with each other and people, yeah, it was kind of fun. I applaud
think
you
it's
on that
fabulous.
creativity.
Anybody else? Okay. Any trustees have any questions or comments about the department head reports?
I will say to Paul, Ryan Stevenson.
It was I mean, it was the highlight of the,
Yeah.
especially being the open, it was incredible, and maybe, just listening to many appreciated, right?
Yeah.
The whole experience, the last few months.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty powerful.
And it, was it planned to be there all along? I mean, it must have been, yeah, because that's a big deal, that's really. Yeah, it had to have been very moving.
So the only question I had is the storybook. I mean, I'm not sure where it is, and I mean, I'd love the reporting here about it, and I'm just curious, what exactly is it? Or how does it work, or?
Sure, so it's basically cemented panels that are along the walking path.
Oh, okay.
Over there, there's someone like Park, and if you walk in sequential order, you see the book as you
Okay,
walk.
okay,
Yeah.
Connie has got a picture of it.
And I just got this,
Okay.
story in the mail the other day. It's gonna be larger than what we had. We have a good idea how to format it.
So when you're saying rotating the recorder, it's gonna be out there even in the winter then too? Okay.
Yeah, they're sealed, they're mostly consistent. We'll see how they do in the winter, but, the store panels I got this time are laminated, so they should be captured.
Cool. Okay. So any other questions or comments on the department report one more time? Okay, so then the president's report. So the next meeting is gonna be next month, Wednesday, June 17th at 7 o'clock. And then Wednesday, July 15th at 7 o'clock. Wednesday, August 19th at 7 o'clock, and then another important landmark in the library, here is the budget appropriation public hearing, Wednesday, September 16th at 7, as well as, of course, the regular board meeting. So then, the next item would be then the treasurer's report.
We made some great interest again. Yay, yay us, yay you, Jason, for getting us on that train.
I don't
Keep
remember,
going down that track.
I don't remember getting that much every month for a long time. I just think that's so
It's so fantastic.
astounding
Yeah.
and so wonderful. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully we'll be able to increase that a little bit. The rates have been ticking down a
yeah.
little bit lower, but
I listened to Marketplace tonight, it sounds like the rates are the.
but this month, later this month, we should be getting start of our tax money spring, which we defer for the fiscal year 27 budget, but it's still in our ring. So after our transfer, we actually will have very little left in
that
the
account.
checking it.
Oh.
The
Commercial.
commercial checking account. But we didn't make a transfer this month with the idea that the tax money was not coming in, so come the June meeting, we should hopefully have $1 million. Roundabouts in the commercial checking account again, so.
Good deal.
So we can even then think about next month. Potentially benching a little bit of that. We wanna make sure we leave enough for a couple months, but we can probably
Put some,
put some of that to the Illinois funds.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
is that still performing better? Only fund, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our bank interest rate was the 1.89%, I think. And Illinois funds is still at the 3.7 something. It's after the 7 that it's been slowly ticking down, but yeah, so definitely,
It's a big difference.
yes, it is.
So then on to the secretary's report.
Nothing new?
And then we're on to the committee reports, which I believe is the personnel committee.
Well, we did get some feedback from Rick.
Yes, Rick did respond. That's the only email I saw. I don't know.
That's
if
the
you
only one I
saw-
saw.
Or if any of you responded directly to Jason, but I think Rick, if I recall, you were aligned with the goals that Jason created for himself.
Mhm.
So, and I don't know how anybody else present at this meeting feels, but I also agree with Rick. I think they're very solid, manageable, goals, and I don't think for once you're biting off more than you can chew. I think that succession plan and the disaster, all of them are things that need to be here. So. Very good. I think number 3, yeah, the annual report would be great, but I think 1 and 2 are the most significant priorities.
And I tried to, as a, you know, do the update of the recovery plan and the financial plan as time allows, but I think since we actually don't have a succession plan. I think that would be important to get in place, should,
And I like the ongoing goals too.
given that I was in a car accident in the fall, it kind of brought that to my mind as well, of we should probably have something in place should something happen.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we expect you to work from your.
And then you can all be in the same room at the same time.
Fly in the same plane.
So anything additional on that, or are we? Okay,
with that, if you all are.
so then on to trustee comments.
I have a few comments.
Okay.
This was a big month for me. I became a grandma for the first time. Little Al.
Congratulations.
April 25th. And he's just so adorable. I was born to be a grandma. And Sarah's doing great, except she's not getting any sleep. But they're doing great, and so that's really wonderful. Also, I was given the opportunity I was invited to the soft opening of the Obama Presidential Center last week, one of the several days that they had open. And it was fantastic, and it wasn't even finished yet. And I have to highly recommend it to all. I went into the Chicago branch library that they have right there on site, and it's fantastic. I met the branch director, and his name is Marcus, and he was awesome. And they have the most beautiful mural as you step in there. And I stood there looking at that for about 10 minutes. It's this gorgeous mural. And then in the back of the building is a presidential reading room where all of Obama's, I don't know if they would be his favorite books, because there were many, many books back there. But there were a lot of books that, there were fiction, there were nonfiction, a lot of books I have read, and many books I hadn't read, but you could just find yourself wanting to plunk down and read a lot of those books. It was a very cool room. It was very cool little branch library, but it was completely separate from the presidential center itself, which had fantastic exhibits. And it also had, I don't know if any of you read about it, but it had a, Oval Office mock-up. Which was very cool. I sat at the desk. That was very cool. It was really, really well curated and really well done. So I highly recommend a visit.
I'm glad you got to go.
So,
I'm excited. I have tickets for June 25th.
yeah, it was really, really great. It was a great visit there. So
You're done, Barb?
I'm done.
I would just like to comment on reading matters. Was very impressed for some reason. This time, the amount of offerings and the variety of offerings that are included in that reading matters are stunning. There were so many things that could appeal to all levels, all ages. So kudos to the planning team and whoever's in charge of that. A great idea. I think it's your team, Paul, and Kathy, you certainly get it all wrapped together in that thing, but I was there going, wow, this is in our library, this is in our library, it's very good, thank you. And my other comment is, gentlemen, I really appreciate your reports from PL, and great. Thank you. I have 2 weeks.
One, yay, see library is up and down, or down and running. So that's kind of fun to see library. We actually talked about it tonight, but that's kind of cool. And then I have a question, and have some friends whose kids are in college and they're living all kinds of thousands of Canva. Over the last month, and I saw that we're gonna start using.
Yes, that'd be great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's not gonna have any problems.
You're talking about Canva, the design part?
Is that
Yeah,
the
it is.
same thing? Oh, it's different. That's how little I know about all this stuff, yeah.
You're talking about the program that went down like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
that was all hostage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Canvas, right?
Oh, yeah, same,
Right.
so that's why I was asking, because I didn't know that.
I guess that most college students know their way around Canva, just,
Okay.
they're pretty good.
Go start college students.
Alright.
Oh, the flower puzzle in front of you was,
From.
our.
What's the staff recognition committee, we're supposed to have passed out last month and we forgot to.
Oh,
We
so
gave
lovely.
the staff
That's
for
really fun.
National Library.
It's kind of cool, thank you. So there's one at your place, Erica, so it'll be probably in your box so that you can enjoy that too.
Oh, definitely we will.
Yeah. So it's something you can put together, a vase with flowers. Well,
It doesn't require shoulder work.
Sorry,
Doesn't
we don't
require
have to close
water.
up.
Now I'm actually
Uh,
gonna have my daughter do it for me. Because mommy needs help. She doesn't have a walking. Good thing it was my left arm though, because if it was my right, I will be in trouble.
That would be awful.
So, one of the things that I feel this library is really incredible, it's due to all the hard work from the staff and the management. To Jason, and sometimes I feel like it's so hard to just wait an entire month to express the appreciation for everything that Jason does, for all the leadership team, as well as all the staff. So just thank you very much, you're doing a wonderful,
Here, here.
excellent job. Here. So if there's nothing else, I would like, no other discussion, no other comments, I would like to adjourn the meeting at 8:44 PM.